Kidnapped, walking the scene, reviewing old flicks from the 90s. So keen, the VHS Club, they're the talk of the town. Breaking it down, spreading nostalgia all around. Moving and grooving to the synth-pop sound. Their insight so fresh, painting pictures profound. From Pulp Fiction to Clueless, they know it all. The genuine love from movies stands strong. Unfolding memories on that VHS screen, talking about classics like you've never seen. Katie with her charm, Matt with that wit. Together they make the VHS Club legit.
Happy Muppet Christmas. Welcome back to the VHS Club. Hey, Nat, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. This was a fun day because we got to watch two, not one, but two Muppet Christmas movies. So I'm excited.
Yes. And I have a slight amount of Christmas cheer
Yeah,
after
Nat,
watching A
yeah.
Muppet Family Christmas. Minute.
So
I giggled, I smiled, I loved the jokes. It made me
exactly.
happy.
So the backstory of all of this, for those of you who don't know us super well yet, Nat is not a big Christmas person. Nat,
Yes.
yeah, Nat loves a lot of Christmas stuff, but not this is
I
not
do.
like her fave time of year. So
So, not an extrovert, too many plans, too many stressed out people. I loved gift giving.
yeah, you're good at gift giving, so that checks
I
out.
love feeding people. I love cookie making, trimming the tree. Let's just say my mom was like undiagnosed OCD, and it gives me an eye twitch that my brother thinks is hilarious. So stuff like that,
Yeah.
it's a give and take. I like to give people gifts.
Yeah. See, but
And I like
Nat does
Muppet Family
love
Christmas.
Muppet Family Christmas. So I talked her into we extended out Halloween and we reduced the Christmas movies. So if you're joining us in December, this is it. This is our last episode of the year. We're so sorry, but we're taking a much deserved break. We'll be back in January.
Holiday.
We'll be back in January. But yeah, we figured we'd go out with a bang for this year. So we're doing not one but two Muppets Christmas movies. And
Yes.
I'm going to say what I always say at the beginning of every episode where I have seen Muppets Christmas Carol 8 million times, and I had already rewatched it before we even decided to do this one. It's like my favorite Muppets movie, probably one of my favorite Christmas movies up there. I had not seen Muppet Family Christmas in a bajillion and 1 years. Like I had very little memory of it, so it was a delight to watch this one.
I'm
tonight.
sure
It was amazing.
Watched it. We watched it when we lived together, but
yeah, I know I've seen it.
But that was also 20 years ago.
I know. But I love that, we were like, let's do Muppets. And immediately, I think both of us at the same time were like, I was like, Muppets Christmas Carol. And you were like, Muppets Family Christmas. And we were like, no. And then we were like, both. We'll just do both. so here we are. So maybe what we'll do is you can kick us off with Muppets Family Christmas. And then I'll give my version of what Muppets Christmas Carol is about. We can split it up.
All right.
All right. So we'll Family Christmas first because it's on the left. So
I watched the Muppet Christmas Carol first.
Okay.
And then I watched Muppet Family Christmas because I knew
I
know I love Family Christmas. Yeah. So I just needed lots of giggles, and Yeah. So, okay, A Muppet Family Christmas first. Okay, so um the Fozzie, it took me a second, I have to admit, today, because I watched both movies back to back today, to remember all of their names.
Yeah, I forget some of their
I was like,
names sometimes.
whoa.
It's the grumpy old men that I always forget. I know it's Waldorf, but I always screw up
Statler.
Statler. That's it. See,
I
I
think
always screw
it's
it up. They're my
Stat.
favorites, and yet I
I love
constantly mess
them.
his name up.
I
Anyway,
love them. When
so
they, to
it's
jump
fair.
ahead to Christmas Carol, when they showed up as the ghosts Marley, I
It's
died. That
perfect.
was so
It's
funny.
perfect. Yeah.
Okay, back to Family Christmas. So
Mhm.
Fozzie decides to invite the whole cast and crew of the Muppet Show.
Mhm.
So this is behind the scenes of the actual Muppet Show, as if they are working paid actors,
Yeah,
crew, producers, etc.
they
Okay.
are. But, okay.
Well, Miss Piggy would argue that she is,
Yeah.
because she still does photo shoots for Vogue. But
Mhm.
that aside, uh, so Fozzie invites the whole Muppet Show to his mom's house for Christmas
Mhm.
without telling mom.
No, yeah, it doesn't tell her.
And she's on her way to Malibu. So she has rented her house out over Christmas
Mhm.
to Doc and Sprocket, which is the human inventor,
Fraggles. Yeah.
the human inventor and his dog Sprocket, who the Fraggles live under his workshop. And
Mhm.
Sprocket is always rah, 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 trying to find the Fraggles. And Doc is always like, I don't think they're really there. So in this one, he's like, oh, do you think we're going to see some of those Fraggles you tell me about? So he shows up, he's like, oh, a nice peaceful Christmas. And then Fozzie and every Muppet show up at the mom's house, and she's like, well, I guess I'm not enjoying myself this holiday.
Yeah.
Which, like, I love how she was super harsh.
But then she
And
also kind of
then,
like gives it and is
but she
totally
enjoyed.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, she
Yeah.
loved it. And sort of, so throughout the movie, a course of different characters from the Muppets, obviously from Fraggle Rock
Mhm.
and from Sesame Street, all show
Yeah.
up. And the sort of one of the story arcs, or basically the only story arc, is that Miss Piggy is late and there's a big storm coming in, and Kermie is worried.
Yeah, it's so cute. It's
And
so
yeah,
cute.
and that's it. And they have a wonderful Christmas. They do all the things.
Yeah.
They go and cut down a tree, make friends with the snowman, come up with a comedy act.
Yeah. It
They
it somehow it somehow pulls off being the Muppet Show. Like it is like a
yeah,
variety show in itself where there's
yeah, it's
like
like
singing and
comedy
dancing,
sketches.
comedy sketches, like all the I was
They do a
explaining
pageant, a Christmas
I
pageant.
was
They
explaining
cover
to
all the good
Scarlett
carols.
all about variety shows. I was like, well, the Muppet Show is
Yeah,
because she is no like she's seen Muppets in things, but and we own the
but
Muppet
not
Show.
the Muppet
So she's
Show.
I think seen a few episodes of the Muppet Show, but it's been a while. So she was like, didn't I was like, well, it's like a variety show, and then this is what a
Yeah.
variety show is. But yeah, I really loved this one, and I loved it because it felt like the Muppet Show. I loved it because it was a
Yeah.
mix of all of them together. So the Muppet babies are in it as well, but in puppet form because usually they're
Yes.
in cartoon form. So
Not
that was incredible.
cartoon. That was so exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
they're
that was
watching
that.
old family movies.
Yeah.
They bake cookies, and Cookie Monster's like, cookies, and like eats them all. I loved it. I and the Muppet band. So like in the actual Muppet Show, they have
They
a
have a
band
band,
who's
yeah.
sometimes in the sketches.
Mhm.
Um, but I love the band. Whenever they show up, even in Christmas Carol, when the band shows up, I'm like, yes, I love them.
And I will say the thing I really loved about this one as well is that it has like classic Christmas carols as well. So it
Yeah.
like which I feel like sometimes I miss because I don't like it. It's all this stuff is so modern now that I feel like a lot of the Christmas music I listen to is like Mariah Carey and like all
Well,
the
that
like
yes.
newer quote unquote Christmas music. And so it actually was kind of nice to like sing along with some of the like classic songs that you know and love and that like weren't necessarily like from anything. They just are like
Yeah.
timeless Christmas carols.
Carols.
So
Yeah.
that was really fun because Christmas Carol is also a musical, but
Which I forgot. I was
it's
like,
got
oh
its
yeah,
own
it's musical.
songs. So it like so this was a
Yeah.
nice I think it was nice to watch alongside it. I was like, oh, the Muppet Family Christmas is very much a Christmas special. So it's only an hour long. So it's
Yeah.
not even like a full feature film
It was
necessarily.
sponsored by Osh Gosh by Gosh.
Exactly. It's like it's a traditional Christmas special, which
Yeah.
and maybe people in the comments can echo in their thoughts as they're hanging out with us tonight, but I don't think we do this anymore. Maybe it's just because we don't have TV
Netflix
anymore.
has
Do they
some
have
Christmas
Christmas
specials. Remember the Bill Murray Christmas special with
Yeah,
Miley
but
Cyrus?
that's true. I guess that's
That
true.
was good. That was actually really good. And I think there's a new one with Chapel Rowan and Sabrina Carpenter coming out.
That's true. I guess like
Apparently, I don't
in
know.
my
I've
mind,
heard.
and maybe like
It's not the same though.
we're in like nostalgia, right? So it's like
Yeah.
it was like, there's the half an hour Grinch cartoon, there's
Yes.
the Peanuts Christmas, there's these ones, the Muppet
Rudolph.
your
the
Rudolph, like
Claymation.
these were all like
The
kid
California
kid
Raisins
Christmas movies that were on like Christmas. All the kids shows had Christmas specials, and I guess maybe
Yeah.
like, I don't know, who knows? Maybe like Simpsons and things like that still do, but
Christmas episodes. Yeah.
yeah, but it just felt like I was
Yeah.
like, these were Christmas episodes that even if you didn't watch these, I guess everyone just watched these shows though. I was just like
Well,
they
yeah,
were
because it
just
was on cable
everyone watched it,
television.
and they were year
So I
after
think
year they would play them, right? So it feels a little it's a
I
little
think
bit
there
sad that these
wasn't.
are so far
Yeah.
removed now.
There wasn't regularly scheduled shows around the holidays, so they played these.
Hmm.
So it's like shows made specific. Now we just fill it with whatever and they're streaming and
Yeah.
so there was special intention behind that,
And they
like these
weren't
shows.
it wasn't like I mean, I guess like in the example of Simpsons, there is a Halloween special and a Christmas special every year, but a lot
Yeah.
of these shows didn't have a Christmas, like this was like the big, like we spent a big budget to make this hour long like
Yeah.
Christmas special that
Yeah.
probably would
He-Man
play
and
for a
She-Ra
few
did.
years.
And so
Yeah.
did Star
Yeah.
Wars, but don't watch the Star Wars Christmas special.
Yeah, don't.
And I love Star Wars, diehard Star Wars fan. It's not watchable. I mean, even Mark Hamill's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Like, we were contractually obligated to do this. It was the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So one of my favorite parts in the show, in the Family Christmas, is they do this running gag from the beginning of the episode to the end of it, where there's this patch of ice at the
Mhm.
doorway in the entranceway, and every time somebody walks through, they slip and like full on like splat fall. And it kills me every time.
It's
And then
always
right at the
funny. Yeah.
end,
Yep.
when Miss Piggy finally gets there and she falls, that I cackled. It was like, oh, because Miss Piggy's so proper, she would never.
I'm with
So to have her character do it, that was
I'm
great.
with Paul. My favorite, and Paul may not be saying this as his favorite moment, but I love the Swedish chef in this, and he's trying to kill and cook
My God.
first the turkey, and then he sees
Yeah.
Big Bird, and it's like all
When
over
he's
it.
salt and
Yeah.
peppering Big
Yeah.
Bird while Big Bird is talking to him about like the true meaning of Christmas and being away from home for Christmas, and he's like trying to season him. Like, oh God, that's so good.
And then
I
he wins
also
him over
love.
at the end, which is like
Oh yeah,
fantastic. And of course, then he
Is he-
decides he's not going to cook it. I have to say, like, so and you're gonna say the old men. Well, I'm just gonna call them the grumpy old men. The grumpy old men are definitely up there in my favorites, but the Swedish
Statler
chef
and
also
Waldorf.
holds a like
Yes.
fond place in my heart. And even in the newer, so Disney Plus actually recently, well, I guess within the last like 5-ish
Yeah.
years,
5
they
years.
did like
yeah.
an update of the Muppets, which is actually not awful. It's not as good in
It's
my mind
okay.
as this
It's like
one. But
it's
the
a
Swedish
webisode.
chef in those ones are
Yeah.
are so good. He's so good in them because he's just like
It's
entirely
great.
himself, and for some reason he just fits in like the modern like chef cook-off shows. He is
I
fantastic.
love that Doc, the human,
Yeah.
completely understands everything the Swedish chef is
Oh yeah.
saying,
Exactly. Yeah. He totally gets it. Yeah.
which had followed a joke when Rolf meets Sprocket and Rolf doesn't understand what Sprocket is saying, and Doc makes a joke saying, oh, it's always like this when you don't know the language.
Yeah.
But then he understands Swedish chef, like, which is impossible.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
Now, as Canadians, we need to touch base on the epic entrance of Miss Piggy,
Mhm.
because Doc goes out into the storm to try and find her, and he shows up in a full Royal Mounted Police, Canadian Mounted Police uniform
Mhm.
on a dog sled,
Mhm.
like bringing in Miss Piggy through the storm. And he's like, I found her and she somehow had this costume for me. And I'm like, at first, before I realized it was Doc, I'm like, why is an
You're
RCMP
like, where did
officer
this man come
bringing,
from?
where are they? Does Fonzie's mom live in Canada? It, oh my God, talking about making an entrance.
Yeah, Miss Vicky, I mean, it's funny. There are like some Muppets things where she drives me crazy, and then
Yeah.
others where she's fantastic. And this is one where she's just fantastic all the way through. Like the storyline for this one is really cute because she's like, she's late because she's shopping, but she's like thoughtfully shopping for Kermit. So she's not being kind of as like
Yeah.
bitchy as she is in other episodes and other things.
Yeah. She's not
And
being so diva.
and then she just like he's worried about her and he's his usual sweet and adorable self.
Yeah.
But then she doesn't of course listen to him and tries to get there anyway. But she at one point like is pushing the car, like she's doing her best to get there. Like even
Yeah,
though
she was
she's
actually
late.
very sweet in
She's
this
actually
one,
really
even though
sweet
she
in this
was,
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
she was late because she had booked a photo shoot. It was like this glamour photo shoot with her 80s perm and her lame dress. I was like, I would wear this pig's wardrobe. Sign me up.
Well, Paul was laughing at the Swedish chef, and Josh thought Miss Piggy
Yeah.
was going to kill Fozzie when she fell in the ice since it's his house. Yeah, her suing him would have been the modern day
Yeah.
update.
See, the one thing that was missing was the Doozers from
Yeah, the
Fraggle Rock.
doozers.
And for
Yeah.
some reason, I remember them being there. And I don't know because I watched it on YouTube.
You can't
So
watch
they
it
have,
anywhere else, by the way, because
well,
I guess
I have it
yeah,
at home,
but the
but like taped off TV.
yeah, there's no it does not exist. I believe they said it doesn't exist on DVD and doesn't exist on any of the streaming services because
Well, Disney, get your
because
shit together.
Disney doesn't own some of they're split up now. So they were all like Muppets and under the same thing, and I think now
Oh,
the
because it's Muppets, Sesame Street, and Fraggle.
I think HBO
That's
now
the
owns
issue.
Sesame Street, and I don't know who. I think
HBO.
Fraggles. Yeah, HBO owns Sesame.
I'm like, that seems inappropriate.
Don't quote me, but I know it does seem really inappropriate. I'm like, this should be a PBS thing. I don't. Anyway, I think HBO owns it though. I could totally be wrong.
Oh dear.
But yeah, I guess.
That's a
I guess that's
shame.
why. But it's kind of funny because I don't know. In
This
some
one
ways,
is such a classic.
it's kind of
They
nice
go
because
through all the nice carols.
you're immediately able to find it. Like it doesn't. It's not hidden or taken.
I
Like it's
feel
just publicly
like-
on YouTube. You just can't get it anywhere else
Yeah.
because of rights. But yeah,
Well, it would have aired on public television, wouldn't it have
would
back in the day? So,
I would assume so. Yeah.
anyways, and also another great moment is at the end, Jim Henson is there and he's
Jim
looking
Henson
in
is
on
there.
everybody and they're singing like a Christmas medley of Happy Holidays and a bunch of other songs. And
Yeah.
he's like, oh, this is so nice. And he's like, I love to see them all in their element. And then he's like, you know what? There's a lot of dishes to do. I'll do that for them. And I was like, oh,
I know.
so
And
cute.
it breaks my heart even more because he passed away like suddenly, pretty young. He was in
Yeah.
his 50s,
Yeah.
and
Jesus.
and he was not alive when they made Christmas Carol. So this like of the two of these
Yeah.
movies, like and that Christmas Carol was the first one that his son took over and did, and so
Yeah.
it's bittersweet that he was like in Muppets Family Christmas and then like very
Yeah.
noticeably not in Christmas Carol and not involved in that one. So it makes me sad. Oh, there we go. Josh has corrected me. That's why we always have to have fans in the live studio audience. Josh says it is on DVD, but the DVD has been out of print for 15 years. Okay, so there's been
Well, that's
shake up
rude.
and changing. Oh, here we go. And Paul is Paul is adding context as well. The Muppets no longer share affiliation with Sesame Street, and the Fraggles lay dormant. Okay, so which
Which is
bums
a
me
tragedy.
out.
I love the Fraggles.
I actually have
Obsessed with the
Muppets.
Fraggles.
I have both the first few seasons of The Muppet Show on DVD, and I also
Yeah.
have the first couple seasons of Fraggle Rock on DVD. And I think maybe I didn't buy it. They were for a while. They had like a box set of like 1970s Sesame Street, which I think I own, but maybe I just am remembering it being available. But yeah,
I remember you wanting it. I don't know if you got it though.
I mean, I grew up like it's funny. Like I remember watching the Muppet Show with my parents. I definitely
Yeah,
watched a ton of Fraggle
same.
Rock by myself, but I like learned to be a person from Sesame Street. Like according to my parents, like I just sat in front of the TV for hours and hours, and they were like, "Well, it's Sesame Street, it's fine."
It's
I
fine.
probably learned Spanish,
It
how to read, counting, everything from
it
Sesame
was the
Street.
80s.
It was the 80s. Apparently, I was raised by Sesame Street, so that one always holds a really fun place for me. So
And I do love that scene where all the Sesame Street gang comes down and they sing a song and they all have like a little moment, a little cameo to shine, like the main
yeah.
characters. And then they put on the Christmas pageant after and they do the little play, which is so cute.
They're so
Bert and
cute.
Ernie's little
Yeah.
shtick is so good.
I mean it hit me how much I love them when they appeared, and I was
Yeah.
just like, oh, like it's Bert and Ernie, and Oscar was so funny where Rizzo's
Yeah.
there and he's like, sure, you can hang out in my trash can because you're a rat.
Yeah, you
And I
can
was
bunk
like,
with me.
this is
I've never
great.
had a rat in my can.
Yeah, this is great.
So
Absolutely
for
great.
me, this movie, it's like a warm hug.
It
You
is a
know,
warm hug.
it's very easy to watch with family. You get all your carols in.
Yeah.
You get your little Christmas stories. You get like the sort of, I guess, the religious moral aspect of what Christmas represents,
Mhm.
or religious slash and or moral aspect, depending on, because they don't make it religious, but they do mention like the love and community that Christmas should be.
Yeah,
So
which is very on brand for Muppets and Sesame
Yeah.
Street and all of the Muppets. I think
Yeah.
they're all just called Muppets at this point, right? But yeah.
well, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now A Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh my
It's the classic
gosh.
story.
Yeah.
Basically it runs down Scrooge is a Scrooge and he gets shown his partner dies and says, well, his partner's ghost, or in this case, his partner's ghosts, haunt him and say, you need to learn a life lesson. We're going to show you the ghost of Christmas, past, present, and future. And his Grinchy heart grows 2 sizes and he learns the meaning of Christmas and becomes a totally different human being.
Mhm.
And it's very sweet. And it's starring obviously Kermit the Frog, Fozzie Bear, Miss Piggy. I love Gonzo and Rizzo the Rat as the narrators.
Mhm.
It's like it's comedy, like the back and forth, the chemistry between them, it's great.
It
And
is
of course, Michael
fantastic.
Caine.
Michael Caine is incredible in this, and it made me
Yes.
so
He actually has quite a good range, like an emotional range
I mean,
in this movie.
he's an incredible actor, and what I absolutely two things I love about this. One is that he begged to be in this. So like he found out about this and was
That's
like, no,
amazing.
I have to be in this.
It's
and
me.
like and went like out of his way. They were considering all
Yeah.
different actors and he was like, no, it's me. And like Michael Caine is a very like serious, traditionally trained actor, which makes it even better. And then when he finally got it, he was like, I'm going to play this incredibly seriously. Like I am going to play
Oh
as
yeah,
if
it was straight edged.
as
Yeah.
if I am like on the stage with like nothing but like Royal Shakespearean actors with me. Like
Yep.
he was all the way through, which I just think is so wonderful. And I think is what makes this so special for me. Like
Yeah.
my English major vibes just like sing as a result of this movie because it's totally fun and approachable for kids, but it holds to the text, like in many cases verbatim. And because he's such an incredible actor, like you really get the feel of this entire story. And like my kids left being like they wanted to read the book. They
Yeah.
it really brings to life this story, which I think is fantastic. You loved the fact that Gonzo and Rizzo were
Yes.
the narrators. They originally were supposed to like not be the narrators, and Miss Piggy, Gonzo and Rizzo and Miss Piggy were all supposed to be ghosts, the ghost of Christmas, past,
Oh.
present, and future. And then I guess they decided that like wasn't going to work, or they didn't want to do that, and so they like reassigned those characters.
They made the ghosts way
different roles.
scarier.
They made the ghosts way scarier, which it's funny.
Which they make fun of in the movie.
Yeah.
It's Gonzo and Rizzo. One of them says, like, isn't it really scary for kids? They're like, nah, it's culture.
yeah.
Like, that's
it-
amazing.
It is. And I think
Ugh.
like again, I like and jaded and filled with nostalgia over here, but I do think that this era of filmmaking for kids let like didn't dumb things down and didn't try to like hide things, and maybe we've talked about this in the past with movies like Goonies and others, like maybe it crossed some lines and was not like always like quote unquote appropriate for kids, but in this
Well,
case I like that they didn't dumb this down at all, and they didn't try to make
yeah.
like a like they didn't try to make a like a kid-friendly version of this. They were just like, this is the exact story, but we're gonna put Muppets in it.
I
And like
mean,
that made it
we've only
better.
become very fragile around
Yeah.
kids more recently in
Yeah.
history.
Yeah.
So, you
I
know,
I liked it. I like this a lot.
yeah, there's this quote from Michael Caine that is forever rattling around in my brain. Okay, and this is why I love that you told me that he asked for
He
this role because
begged,
I was
not
like,
asked, like he
wait, yeah,
begged for this
demanded.
job, demanded this job. Yeah.
So, because I wondered which of his categories this fell in, and clearly it's the first. So I'll read you this quote. He says, "First of all, I choose the great roles, and if none of them come, I choose the mediocre ones. And if they don't come, I choose the ones that pay the rent."
I feel
He
like
has
this is a great
famously
role for him.
yeah. So this is one of the great ones, obviously.
Yeah.
He famously has said, I think it was on Letterman or something, where he was asked about saying this in the past. And he's like, look, I have a country cottage. I bought my son a house.
Yeah.
I can travel the world. He's like, of course I'm going to do the shit movies. They pay, don't they?
Yeah.
So he has like one of like a huge filmography because he used to do like anything and everything because he's like, you're gonna give me money, sure, I'll do it, whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he would, I mean, he would go after the roles that he wanted and the great roles, and he did do theater in London and everything. But I love that this was one of the ones he picked and not just one that pays the rent.
Well, this line cracks me up. So thanks to Paul for sharing this. Paul says, in an interview, Kermit the Frog stated that the most important piece of acting advice ever given to him was by Sir Michael
God.
Caine on the set of the movie. His advice: never blink. And like, let's
Stop.
let's keep in mind for a second. So like, while we're praising Michael Caine, let's throw one more piece of praise his way, because this movie is again similarly to Space Jam, similar to Little Shop of Horrors, like acting with puppets when you are
Oh yeah.
predominantly the only actor around would have been freaking impossible. Way more difficult, actually, probably than what Michael Jordan had to go through in Space Jam, because at least in that movie, like he can't see them, but like
Yeah,
he
but this is
knows where
like
to
a
look.
whole bunch of grown adults
This is
crouched on the
grown
floor
adults
holding
with
Muppets up.
holding Muppets up. And not only do you have to like play serious, which he nailed,
Yeah,
but you have
which
to
he
like
did.
not like trip over that. Like apparently it was incredibly difficult for him to do any kind of blocking for this movie, because
Well, when
he's
he
trying
did
not
this,
to fall over like all these like adults, and the
yeah,
scenes where they have to like move the Muppets like through the streets and not have it look like puppets, like all of that is
right.
it's I'm sure like, okay,
And the
sir,
thing
Sir Michael,
is,
you stand over here, and you guys stand over here.
in this movie, the Muppets and human beings coexisted. Like it,
Yeah.
that was reality.
Yeah.
So there were many adults in it. There were choreographed dance scenes.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. And I laughed really hard thinking about Michael Caine in the scene where he sang a song, which I absolutely love that they didn't actually try to make him sing. He just sort of like
Talks.
walked through a song. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
he like talked the song out, which
Mhm.
was great because it was fine, you
Yeah.
know? And like there's this one scene where he bursts outside and it's like, and every like all these Muppets are in front of him and these like humans behind him. And I was like, this scene must have been insane to film. Like, I would have loved to see like serious Michael Caine singing, sort of, and all of these people huddled in front of him. God, that would a behind the scenes would have been comedy for this. I also love the opening credits where it's like starring Kermit the Frog as
I know, and Paul was
like they're
pointing
the
out
actual actors.
it's the first movie where Kermit isn't the lead in a Muppet movie, so I'm sure
Right.
he had to step down a level.
Yeah.
He wasn't the lead. Yeah.
I have to say that in any iteration of A Christmas Carol, the Tiny Tim thing
Oh,
is dark as fuck.
it's
It
so
is so
dark.
depressing. And like we all know at the end like it's Ghost of Christmas Future shows Scrooge that Tiny Tim dies and I don't know, he freezes to death or has rickets or
Yeah.
cripples just died as children. I don't know what the I don't
What
remember
the
what the
moral of
actual
that
plot
story was.
was.
Yeah. Exactly.
But
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a like they call them lame, like a lame kid died. And I don't mean lame as like he was a loser. I mean like
Yeah.
he actually had a crutch and a limp.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it. So it's Scrooge, Ebenezer Scrooge's employee's son is Tiny Tim,
Hmm.
and he's the lame one. And the ghost shows him, if you aren't nice to people, this kid's gonna die, and so will you. And that's so depressing. And even in the Mickey Christmas Carol,
Yeah. Which I don't like
it's
as much.
equally
Yeah,
depressing.
it's
Actually,
equally
you know
depressing.
what? I'm gonna say something. So Katie and I are always on the same page. I prefer the Mickey Christmas Carol. So this is where we draw the line in the
This is
sand,
where we
Katie.
draw the line in the sand. I'm sorry to all my like Mickey Disney loving friends because I have a bunch of them. But yeah, I don't. I'm not.
Yeah.
I
Though I
don't like
do
that one
love
as
that
much.
Robin, which is Kermit's nephew, plays
Yeah.
his son, Tiny Tim.
Yeah.
I don't know who the mid-sized frog was.
I know.
Like, I mean, as
The
an actor.
the frogs and the pigs, the girl
I
pigs
know.
and the boy frogs.
So a
Um.
thought I had while watching this is so Kermie and Miss Piggy are married in this movie, and they have two piglet daughters and two frog sons. I'm like, how does
How?
that happen when we're crossbreeding that like you get one or the other, but not like a half pig frog, you know?
Oh.
Anyways, I mean, that's thinking way too much about Muppets.
No, I had the same thoughts. And in like the darkness of this story, I also I also like loved but was horrified with the early beginning scenes. You have Kermit as the main employee, but then you have like all of the rats as like
Yes,
his other employees, and I
the
love them.
bookkeepers.
I love them so much, and like their responses to him are my. It's probably my favorite part of the entire movie, to be honest with you.
They
It's like
they
because
ask for coal.
they ask for well no they quietly like convince Kermit to be like their point person to ask for
Yeah.
stuff, and so he goes in and like meagerly is just like, maybe we can get a little bit of coal, and he's like, and of course Scrooge is like, absolutely no, like maybe you'll all be fired tomorrow, and like
My
the
favorite
rats change
line.
into their hula outfits. They're like,
They're
hula,
like
what's
heat
the word? Heat
wave.
wave. And it's so I just they're like their crazy reactions to things they're so lovable
I
for rats.
remember
They're
we
very lovable.
when we were kids, we used to do that all the time. Heat wave. And
Yeah.
we'd like do the little dance. But my favorite line in that scene was before they do the heat wave thing. One of the rats says, "My assets are freezing." Like, get off, rat. That's too funny for you.
Oh, it's too funny.
So I have a fun fact for this movie.
Mhm.
The scene where Ebenezer is walking to his house at the beginning of the movie. So
Okay.
after he closes up and is like,
Yeah,
bah
and he's heading
humbug.
over. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's heading home and you see the narrators up on the lamppost or wherever they were. And the way he's stalking down the street, it's like, I'm like, he looks like Jack the Ripper. And then I was like, I wonder if Michael Caine ever played Jack the Ripper. Yes, he
Yes, he
has
did.
in a TV miniseries called Jack the Ripper in 1988.
Oh,
I was like, oh, well, yes, he
it
does
was
look
still
like Jack
fresh
the
in his
Ripper.
mind at
He's
that
played
point.
Jack the
Yeah.
Ripper. Yeah, it was 4 years
Oh,
before this was filmed. They're like, or the things
that's
are
too
4 years
funny.
apart. So I was like, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. We need to
Yeah.
talk about this. So Paul dropped this in, and I so the Ghost of Christmas Past effects were created by making a special puppet that was operated in a tank of water and then green screened into the
Cool.
movie to make it look like it was floating. This ghost is not supposed to be creepy, but this ghost was so
She was very
creepy.
creepy.
Like something about her like weird puppety
Yeah.
doll face, and then the fact that she had that floating effect. I was like, even Scarlett, who
And
like
her
this
voice.
is not, yeah, it was like, what's wrong with this ghost? Like, is this ghost okay? I'm
My
like, no.
thought when she showed up, I was like, well, this could turn into a horror movie real
Yeah,
fast.
she's
And then
scarier
when you
than the
see
like
Ghost
last
of
ghost.
Christmas
Yeah.
Future, like this silent reaper who's
Mhm.
like 7 feet tall,
Yeah.
like, and that's when they make the joke about, isn't this scary for kids? I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, a little bit,
A
but
little
it's
bit.
culture.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm going through. Thank you so much for everyone for joining us, and welcome to the Nostalgic Pod Blast. Who just jumped in. Thank you for all of your support and promotion. We appreciate it. Paul is saying that I read that one. All right, so Paul's up with the facts today in the episode.
Thanks, Paul.
Series trademark at the conclusion of the song "One More Sleep." Bob, Kermit the Frog,
Which I loved.
is seen standing alone in the street, and a shooting star can be seen streaking across the sky. This is an homage to Jim Henson, who again did not live to see this movie come into fruition, which is really sad.
And
but
this
that
is why I
goes in
watched
other
Muppet
movies.
Family Christmas last.
Yeah, I know.
To cheer me up,
I
because
did
that
too,
just
actually. I
brought
watched
me down.
but not purposely, but I did end up watching Christmas Carol a few, probably even a week past, and then
Yeah.
watched Family Christmas today.
The other lines I loved with our narrators was "Light the lamp, not the rat. Light the lamp, not the rat."
Yeah, one of our live studio audience members had said that earlier. That line is absolutely incredible. It's one of one of my
funny.
favorites.
And then I also love Gonzo's delivery of his line at the end. He's like, "And Tiny Tim did not die." It was so good. Oh man, I love how they make the Muppets so expressive too.
Yeah.
And like I know, like even especially Kermit, like he doesn't have eyebrows. At least Gonzo has eyebrows, so he can like like have some kind of emotional range. But
Oh,
yeah, anyways,
this would have been like it would have
decently
been
good.
hard for so the actor, the voice actor that plays Kermit and a number of
Mhm.
other characters. He was like, if you think about it, was stepping into Jim Henson's shoes, like very
Oh,
like the first movie after he had passed away, not that much longer after he had passed away, and that he had like it would have been a really like, speaking of expressive, like so much of Kermit is through his voice because again he's a puppet, and the fact
Yeah.
that this man was able to do that with, I'm sure, a high level of like fear and heartbreak and every other conceivable feeling. Apparently he had a
Yeah.
dream like leading up to it where Jim Henson told him that like he would be okay doing this, and like gave him like warm and fuzzies leading up to the making of this
juju.
film, which I just think is the like most beautiful thing. It's probably like my
Yeah.
favorite fact in a very long time. I was like, that is so incredibly
Oh.
sweet that he had that experience, and that it was
Yeah.
able to help him get through this movie. Because you're right, like I do think that the Muppets like are every bit as fantastic actors. It like throughout this, they really do carry the story like all the way through, which is kind of impressive because again, it's not an
I loved
easy
Miss
story to
Piggy.
tell.
Yeah, and Miss Piggy's interaction with her two daughters was hilarious because it's just two like mini versions of herself, and
Yeah.
they're like as sassy as she is. I was like, that's amazing. I also really like that Rizzo had been hunting for food the whole movie.
Oh yeah. Rizzo
Like
and I
the
are kindred
actual whole
spirits. This is
movie.
why I like
Yes.
the rats. Apparently all the bookkeeping rats in Scrooge's office are left-handed.
That's
pour one out for the left-handed
really
folks. Way to
observant.
go. Way to go. I love all the left-handed folks hanging out. I love it.
I'm kind of ambidextrous, so
My son
I
is
kinda
left-handed,
count.
so I feel strong
Yes.
vibes for my left-handed friends. Oh man.
We always wanted him to grow up to be a baseball pitcher.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you know the other thing I was going to add about this movie that I did really enjoy. This is just a silly, ridiculous thing, but I do love at the very end of the movie when Scrooge has like realized and has decided he's going to be a better person. He like
Yeah.
throws open the window and he knocks Gonzo and Rizzo like off the windowsill, who are telling them, which is
Yes.
already hilarious and amazing. But there's the tiny little bunny Muppet, and he's like, "You lad, go and get me the biggest possible turkey and whatever, like, and here's a bunch of money." And I love that scene because it's so preposterous, but I also love it because like if this was real life, like can you imagine how like overwhelmed you would be? It's like you hate your boss, you have no money, it's Christmas time, like you're already feeling like super anxious, your son is dying, and like this man who you don't like shows up with like the whole town and a giant uncooked turkey.
Yeah, no,
and is
it's like,
let's have dinner at your house. Like Miss
but can you
Piggy-
cook it?
Yeah, Miss Piggy would have been like, "What?"
Well, she did rip him a new one
Yeah.
because he came in pretending like, rah, 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 like, how come you're not at work? And you know what? You're in so much trouble. I'm gonna give you a raise. And it took them a second to like catch up to what he was
But I
saying.
would
And
have
I'm
been
like,
angrier about like the level of
cooking the turkey and
the level
inviting
of
everybody over.
imposition. I would have been like, oh, okay, welcome. We can't
Like
eat
you
for the
couldn't
next
invite us.
8 hours. Like, have a seat, I guess, in our tiny
It was
house.
a good looking turkey,
It
though, I
was a
have to
good looking
say.
turkey. I guess they could have eaten all the fruit and cheese leading up to it, but I was like, this is a really beautiful moment that
Still.
now they're gonna have to sit there awkwardly for hours waiting for that turkey to cook.
Like they couldn't have like he couldn't have invited them to his place because he had
Yeah.
like
I
a
guess it would have been
bigger
less of a
house.
moment. I know, yeah, I know. It's like, let me just bring everyone into your house. But I do
It's
love
like
that.
I'm
I
gonna give
love
you
the
a raise
scene
and
with the
pay off your
lad.
mortgage. I wish.
I know, yeah. If only that was if only that was a thing that happened. I would also take that. That sounds incredible.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah, no, it
gosh.
was cute. They were cute movies. I enjoyed them. I definitely like the other one more.
It's fun.
I
Yeah,
like all
so
the different characters. And like
yeah,
A Christmas Carol, you know the story. So
you
it's like
know
you're
the
watching
story.
it
That's true.
and oh, one was it Christmas Present? Yeah, it was in during the scenes with Christmas Present. The little choir that was singing outside, like the street corner choir,
Mhm.
they looked like not Cabbage Patch Kids, but what was like that like
Oh,
gross
the
cartoon
Garbage
Garbage Pail
Pail
Kids?
Kids? Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like, what? Why are they so terrifying? They were crazy looking.
Mhm.
I didn't
Mhm.
like those ones. Sorry,
Yeah.
whoever made those
Some
Muppets.
yeah, some of the Muppets
Those
are
ones
a
were
little
creepy.
bit much. Yeah.
I did also like all the gorges of squashes
Oh yeah.
at the beginning. So it's like a
The singing
cart
vegetables, yeah.
carrying all the vegetables. They're like, help, help, we're being taken away. It's so stupid. I'm
I
like,
know. It's
it
so
doesn't even have eyes. Why is it talking?
it's so
I'm
funny
like, I would
because
be terrified to eat anything in that world.
I feel like puppets like walk a it's funny, like puppets in my mind walk this like fine line of being like creepy and absolutely no, but then also I love the Muppets. But then you're right, like
Yeah.
some of the Muppets you're like, no, creepy, and then other Muppets you're actually absolutely fine to hang out with.
Adorable.
So
Yeah.
oh there,
I
Josh says
wish
they're
we
the
still
baby
had things like this.
Muppets that showed up on the Muppet Show all the time. So there you go, they're the baby Muppets.
Oh, well,
Oh,
they
I guess we
looked
blocked that out of our mind,
terrifying.
Josh. I
I
don't know what to
was
tell
like,
you.
nope.
Oh, I couldn't pay. I don't. I so I asked everyone in the who's hanging out with us in our live studio
Mhm.
audience to choose their favorite, and they've all ignored me. So I guess
I
I
don't
guess
think a lot of people have seen either of these,
no.
unless you were a child in the
We have
80s.
quite a few people that have. So Josh has definitely seen them. Paul has seen them. Nostalgic Podblast is like a diehard fan of Fraggles and Muppets. So we do have quite a
Love
lot of
it.
people
Love it.
who have seen them. I still am gonna hold that I love the Muppet Christmas Carol, but I think it's just the English major in me that really like I just love like their telling of this one. I think is just so fun and so approachable to kids. But
Agreed.
from a nostalgic standpoint,
From the warm and
from the
fuzzy.
warm and fuzzies, like there's something about Muppet Family Christmas, and I think it's
Yeah.
as you said, I think it's just because it brings together such like iconic characters in a place where
Yeah.
they were never in the same world as each other. And I think it's also that it also reminds me of all of the holiday specials that I absolutely love and like still watch every single year.
Yeah.
I like, I watch The Grinch, I watch Charlie Brown, I watch
Yeah.
all the it's funny, Grinch, Charlie Brown are kind of my two top of all of them, but I do also love like all the puppety claymation ones. Although again, they walk that line for me
Yes.
on
They are a
maybe
little
creepies.
scary. So my favorite's definitely the Grinch.
Yeah.
The animated Grinch.
The
Jim
animated
Carrey
Grinch.
can just like I know he's Canadian, but he's also like renounced us and we're like,
That
cool,
is
we're
not a
happy with
fan. You
that.
will not convince her that he is that he's anything other than
He
terrible.
just so knowing of him before he made it big in the US, he was just not he didn't seem to be a great human being. Funny, yes, obviously. I love The Mask. It was hilarious.
Mask is a good one.
But whatever. So not that Grinch. Um, the real Grinch
The real Grinch.
and Charlie Brown
Charlie
and
Brown.
Muppet Family Christmas Movie and Die Hard.
And Die Hard, yeah. I meant
And
like
Die Hard.
kids' Christmas
Yeah.
specials. Obviously Die Hard. Sorry,
Well,
Kathy.
I mean, I saw Die Hard as a kid
Yeah.
Definitely there are many scenes in that movie not appropriate for children, but
Mhm.
still, it was the 80s.
Well, George is saying Christmas Carol is a family favorite. Kathy is
Yes.
admitting that she's Team Val this week. She hasn't seen these ones, so
Love it.
we'll have to convince you, like we convince
Eh,
Val.
You
Kathy
can
loves
YouTube
Michael
it and
Caine, so you should definitely at
oh
least watch Christmas
yes.
Carol for Michael Caine.
He was actually like his emotional range was quite good. Like it was I
He's
was like, oh
incredible in it.
wow, he's out acting well all the Muppets,
He's
but
he's out acting Kermit. How is that possible? Paul's with
we
you,
love
Nat.
Creaky Frog.
He leans towards Family Christmas. It is
Yeah.
Jim Henson, so there is something special
There's
about
just
that one
this
because
magic.
it's him, yeah.
He does
Um,
have a magic about him, and like the
yeah.
genius that it is that he made all of this up
Yeah. And
is
Josh
it
is saying which I'm with you on I'm with you, Josh, on this one. I think this nails it. It's the Muppet Christmas Carol was the one Josh and I grew up watching all the time. At like same.
yeah,
But the Muppet Family Christmas is the
same.
Muppets being the Muppets, which I think
Yes.
you're absolutely right, Nat and Josh. I think that makes it like
I do like
special.
them both very much.
Yeah.
And I like the rabbit. Well, he's in both of them, but well, the most of them are in both of them. But I love when the rabbit sings the Saint Stephen song, whatever that's
Yeah.
called.
Yeah.
I love that song.
Yeah, I know the old like the old quote unquote Christmas carols in that one are just like lovely. I like it's been a while since every like couple of years I go and do like a Christmas carol like sing off or go to like a carol church service or what have you. But it's not as often as I would like, and I do. There's something about just like being all together singing those songs
Yeah.
that is just really fun. So this was a nice mini version of that.
Something that tickled me on the internet the other week on TikTok, kids discovered Bing Crosby's Christmas album and they're like, "Oh my God, this is the best Christmas album I've ever heard." And
It is
everybody
a
else is like,
really good Christmas
"No
album.
shit, kid." Like, yeah, it's Bing Crosby. We all know. Like,
Oh.
I'm glad you found some culture.
That reminds me, actually, that's when I really should pick up on vinyl. I've been slowly buying myself more
It's
and more
so
records now that we
good.
have a great record shop here in town. And I have
Yeah.
not one but two record players now, so I'm slowly
Mhm.
working my way up. But I did buy the Nutcracker soundtrack, which has been playing
Oh,
endlessly here in our house, but
I love a
I
little
haven't got back.
Tchaikovsky. So
Hmm.
I have to say, in all fairness, my favorite Christmas album, I have two actually, but one that I will listen to on an endless loop is Boney M.
Mm,
The Boney M Christmas,
hmm.
every Christmas song that they do.
Solid.
Love, love, love. And the South Soul Orchestra, the Green Album.
Ooh, I don't know if I know
There's a
that one,
red
but
album and a green album.
huh,
You've heard the green album
I'm
at my
sure.
house a million times. If you plugged it
I
in,
can't
you'd be like,
place
oh
it,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I
yeah.
believe you.
It's like 80s and it's like an upbeat version of all of the Christmas classics.
Yep. Yep.
An 80s upbeat version of the Christmas classic.
It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
Oh gosh. But yeah,
Well,
Boney M, love it.
I hate to break it to you, Nat,
We
and
did it.
everyone listening, but we did it, and B,
We did a Christmas
we
episode.
don't have a potato review today.
But do we?
We just have our giant
Christmas tater.
Christmas tater, wishing you all a very happy holiday season and thanking you for being with us for we're about to enter our third year of the show, which is just like staggering to me.
Stop.
So stop. And also no, don't stop because we have so many movies
No,
to
no, no.
review.
There's so many more movies.
So many more movies. But yeah, we couldn't rate those ones because those ones were just like, I don't know. Everyone's gonna have their feels. So I didn't. For us, they're all
It's happy
five because they're
holidays.
so happy holidays, and like we couldn't come close to rating it. But Josh is agreeing with you, Nat. He's saying that Jingle Bells by Boney M is one of his favorite Christmas songs.
Yeah.
And Paul is saying, yeah, Pentatonics. They're awesome
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Like
Yeah, yeah,
any
yeah.
of their stuff is fantastic. Yeah. Well, now I just want to listen to all the Christmas stuff. I hope there's we'll slowly start convincing Nat to do more. We definitely need to do another double feature where we can do maybe like Grinch and Charlie Brown. Maybe that'll be our
In all fairness, I do have a whole other episode planned out for Christmas, but we're going on vacation,
we're going.
so
I'm sorry. It's as usual. It's my fault.
I
I'm
did
piecing
come up
out.
with a whole other Christmas episode. So yay for the Grinch.
Well, maybe we'll move the Christmas episode into like the middle of January because we're gonna have Josh back on in January to do another
Yay.
Star Trek. I'll leave it like that, so we'll
Ooh.
tease as to what it is. And then
Which of the million Star Trek movies will we cover?
yeah, and then and then I'm gonna actually tease one other thing for next year for our third season, our third year of the show, is that I have a special awesome guest that's joining us to do Groundhog Day on Groundhog Day. And
Mm-hmm.
he lives in the town where the Groundhog Day movie was filmed. And so we're going to go live on location to talk all things Groundhog Day movie and event. So I'm really, really
We're
excited.
so excited.
So somewhere in between Star Trek and Groundhog Day, we'll do Grinch and Charlie Brown, and we'll just relive Christmas a little bit late because we stretched Halloween. So I feel like,
Yeah.
I feel like that'll be.
I mean, technically, there's Ukrainian
yeah,
Eastern Rite Catholic
exactly.
Christmas and
We'll
Ukrainian
celebrate
Orthodox Christmas, and
Ukrainian.
Orthodox Christmas
We'll celebrate Ukrainian
happens
Christmas.
January 6th and 7th.
Perfect. Perfect.
So we
we're-
could do
Yeah.
it, early January.
yeah.
It's still Christmas.
It's still Christmas. We'll pull it off. It'll be
Also, it's a
fantastic.
great excuse to keep my tree up until end of January because you have to keep the tree up until New Year's. So.
And if you put in all the work, you might as well keep it up.
Yes. Also didn't put a tree up this year, but I might put up a tiny, like, Thomas Kincaid tree I have, like a miniature tree. I will put up lights and ornaments.
Perfect.
And build my Lego Christmas village.
Mhm.
That somebody super special, like my bestie, got me for Christmas.
So now we'll hold down the fort on updating you all on her
Yes.
Christmas movie watching
my
and Lego building.
Only
and
moderately Grinchy Christmas.
only moderately Grinchy Christmas. Huge thank you to Josh for watching us for over a year now. We so appreciate it. Paul is saying that Christmas 2025 is fully planned. We're ready to go.
We're done.
We're done. We did it. Yeah, and we have, I am woefully behind on updating our list, but we're working our way through. We're mostly just adding new things to our list and not checking off any of the things that are there. But I mean, we're
Better
we're
Off Dead was
solidly
for
there.
sure on the list.
Better Off
So
Dead
we
was
checked
for sure on
something
the
off.
list. So Kathy helped us check something off the list.
Yes,
Way to
thanks,
go, Kathy. Oh my gosh. Well, I think that is it. Anything else?
Oh
Want to
my
add, Nat?
gosh. That's it, guys, for 2024.
That's it for 2024.
We had so much fun with you guys, and we'll see you next year.
We'll see you all next year. Hang out with us. Make sure that you swing it over to the VHSClubPod.com, sign up for our emails, find a friend, have them sign up for our emails. We don't spam. We just send episode updates and then any other special things that we think of. We officially broke 200 followers on YouTube, and we're over 100 on Instagram, which is hugely exciting for us. So thank you so much. And if you haven't been in either of those spaces, swing on over. Let us know what other content you want to see. And we were so excited. We did our first movie watch along with our friends over at Cinema Psycho podcast, which was super fun. We did Jingle All the Way. So I will make sure that we share. Yeah, I will send an email to everyone on our email list with a link over to that. But now we know how to do that. So get ready for watch-alongs in 2025 because I think it'll be really fun to have some of you on and to watch some movies all together. It was a really fun experience. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We will see Josh in early January. Thanks to Paul and George and Kathy and Val and everyone else that is hanging out with us on a regular basis. We really appreciate it. And I guess final
yippee-ki-yay.
Yippee-ki-yay. Sorry, Kathy. Oh my gosh. Well, we'll see you all next year. Thanks, everyone. Bye from us.
Katie and Nat, walking the scene.